Unfortunately, last week we heard that Olympus is gonna go out of the photography camera business. Olympus was a great camera maker. I loved their equipment. Hopefully the new company who takes over continues to produce great cameras, so Olympus will be still coming up. Phones. Everyone is photographing with mobile phones. Of course, the quality is not the same as photography, but it's easy to carry. It's always with you. Unfortunately, that hasn't helped the camera makers. So either they have to make a phone or go out of the business. Let me talk a little bit about what has happened in the past. For example, the watch companies. Let me show you this watch. In the 70s, digital watches came up, Japanese digital watches, and they killed the Swiss watchmaking industry. These were selling like hotcakes. Everyone was buying the digital watches. They were ugly. They did the job. But the solution for the Swiss watchmaker was to produce some amazing, expensive, collectible, high quality watches. And they came back into the market, and they're rocking now because they're collectible, they're value, they're different, they're original, they're creative. So hopefully our photography industry will look at that industry, and hopefully they will produce some amazing cameras, so they will continue. Take Leica. Leica is one of the oldest photography camera industry, and they're doing so well because their cameras are popular. They kept the value, they add on the value, and people want to have a beautiful Leica. So hopefully more of the photography industry will take that advice. I'm a Canon shooter. I love my Canon camera. I use Canon for my business, full stop. But I love all the cameras, every brand. Olympus is one of them. I collect cameras. For me, it's like my hobby, my business, I spend so much time playing with cameras and everything. So this is something that I love. Now let's talk about other camera companies which I loved and they disappeared. Rolleiflex, Contax, MINOLTA, and of course let's not forget Kodak. 4 great companies who disappeared. I hope Olympus stays where they are, and I hope we continue enjoying those beautiful cameras. One thing about Olympus is quite popular in Japan. So I don't think Olympus is going anywhere for a while. Let me give you a tribute to this big beautiful company. Okay, Olympus started many years ago. They used to make microscopes, and eventually in 1936 they decided, oh, it's time, because we make microscope, let's make lenses for other cameras. And in 1936 they manufactured their first photography lens, and this is when they started to manufacture cameras. They came up with the semi Olympus 1 medium format film camera. It seems that the founder Yamashita Takashi wanted to emulate the German company Carl Zeiss. I'm gonna share with you some of the most beautiful Olympus cameras manufactured in the past. Olympus created this camera here, the Olympus Flex, in 1952 August. Rolleiflex look-alike in the Japanese market. This was a good start for Olympus. September 1963, Olympus started to manufacture the Olympus PEN. It was a changeable lens camera. So let's see, 35mm, half a frame, so it's 72 exposures with 36 exposure film. So if you see the frame, 35 is a full frame, this one has half a frame. In May 1968, Olympus produced one of the most popular compact 35mm camera in the 60s, late 60s, and nearly to the end of 70s. My father used to have a camera store in Melbourne, Swansea Street, and this camera used to sell about 10-15 a week. It was extremely popular. People used to buy this camera, shoot a roll of film on their way to work, drop the film to my father's studio, and then they picked up in the evening film process. So those were the days of quick and perfect photography times. People used to take pictures, and they were pictures printed. In July 1972, one of the most exciting cameras came up. It was the Olympus OM-1. Look at this beautiful camera, how compact SLR this was. Of course, changeable lens, 35mm. This was one of the best cameras ever manufactured in history. Look at the beauty of this camera. After the popularity of the OM-1, Olympus continued with newer models, the OM-2, OM-4, and they were so amazing, beautiful cameras, very popular in the late 70s and 80s. So after discontinuing Olympus TRIP, the compact camera, in May 1979, Olympus came up with the XA models. It was compact, technology was advancing, it had a cover on the camera, smaller lens, it was more compact against 35mm, and it had a side flash. December 1988, Olympus was creating all these crazy, beautiful design cameras, very creative. So Olympus was trying to be creative also, and they came up with this beautiful model. It was 35mm. This had aluminum body, so the whole body was aluminum, and it was limited product, so there was not too many of these manufactured. So again, the flash on the side, beautiful design. Here's another creative one from Olympus, the Ecru. It had a metallic, beautiful cover, polished gloss finishing. Limited number also, if you check the number, they made 20,000 of these cameras. And it was creative. This is what I see future of cameras going to. Limited numbers, special designs based on a current design. Here's another Olympus camera of those days. It was a compact camera again, like based on the TRIP. This one had a zoom lens. It had a weather sealing. OM-1 and OM-2 and the OM series were great cameras, but they were not autofocus, so the company suffered a little bit because of the introduction of autofocus. Mind you, autofocus is a lifesaver. And came the great days of digital photography. April 1999, the CAMEDIA models. The CAMEDIAs were all the digital cameras of Olympus. C-211. This was a compact digital camera with 2.1 megapixel. September 2000. They co-produced this with Polaroid, and it had a Polaroid system in it, so it printed pictures and also captured 2.1 megapixel images. So similar size to Polaroid cameras or the Kodak Polaroid style cameras of those days. No iPhones of those days, so people were buying those cameras for their family shoots and everything. The good thing and the most important part of these days was people were printing. Of course, now advancement and technology is going forward. Digital cameras becoming part of our lives. And Olympus came up with this camera, the CAMEDIA E10. It was a bit too heavy, but it had this big zoom lens from 9mm to 36mm. Basically, this was showing us where the future is heading. Okay, we're in February 2006, not that far ago, and Olympus started to make their cameras more compact, still bulky but changeable lens, manual setting, built-in flash, a larger screen, and it started to look more like the camera we're using today. In March 2012, Olympus brought back the OM. The OM-D, D stands for digital. So it's slightly smaller than the original OM, bigger screen of course, changeable lens. Those were so beautiful, and this is what excited me quite a lot into mirrorless camera, because there was no more reason to have mirror. Let me show you what's mirror if you don't know. A mirror is the product in there. It's a mirror that light goes through the lens. It reflects on the mirror, reflects to the top and to the viewfinder, so you see the image. But once digital was introduced, we didn't need all this mechanism here. this is what makes the camera more bulkier. So by eliminating the mirror and the sensor straight to the camera had electronic viewfinder, so we see through the viewfinder, but more also we see the same on the screen. And this technology advanced, and this is where we are now with mirrorless cameras. With the success of the OM cameras, Olympus introduced back the PEN cameras. Changeable lens, of course, same system as the OM-1. Beautiful designs, very creative, very high quality, very popular in Japan. One of their last cameras from 2019, amazing camera, the Olympus OM-D EM1X. I hope you enjoyed my tribute to this beautiful brand, Olympus. I hope it stays with us for many years to come. And if you have the camera, don't get rid of it because it's not going anywhere. Enjoy the camera, keep on shooting. If you would like to see my photography, I'm a wedding photographer, I'm a portrait photographer, I'm specialized in wedding. This is my Instagram. You can always follow me there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. Hope to see you again. Great.